I have people in my life that you ask them on a regular basis, "How you doing?" Common, most of us probably not as interested as we sound like, but ask them how they're doing. It's always okay. I'm hanging on. It's hardly ever great or doing really well. And I've started asking those people, what does God have to do in your life in order for you to say good, really good? And that's really the only word that this video is about is good. I'm Zach. This is The Average Christian. It's a project simply about what it means to have a relationship with God, how to live that out in practical terms. James chapter 1. It goes against the very fiber of our beings. The reaction when things go wrong is to freak out, to come unglued, to try to find an answer quickly, and impatience and all these things. And you learn as you grow older that it's not the end of the world, that you can stay calm, that you can find that level of reasonableness, that gentleness that Philippians chapter 2 and chapter 4 and verse 5 talks about. And so you learn to sort of go with the flow, so to speak. You learn to calm down. Actually, you really learn to trust God and just say good. That's exactly what he mentions here in chapter 1 and verse 2. Count it all joy, my brothers, when you meet trials of various kinds. When things get difficult, things don't go right. I lost my job. Can you say good? Things have been really hard and really stressful at home. Can you say good? What's that going to accomplish? And what kind of opportunities is that providing for you to grow, to stretch yourself, to give you the opportunity to learn, as it says here, for you know that the testing of your faith, see, it's always good because my faith is being tested. I'm getting an opportunity to show God. Isn't that exactly what happened to Job? Now, Job didn't understand what had gone on behind the scenes. Had he, it would have been easy. But it was a test. It was an opportunity, multiple tests in his case, an opportunity to prove faith in the Lord is stronger, that God is worthy to be followed just based on who he is, not what he does for us. But he says, for you know that the testing of your faith produces steadfastness, and let steadfastness or patience have its full effect, that you may be perfect and complete, lacking in nothing. So when things are going wrong, when things fall apart, when it doesn't line up, and I don't know about you, but I don't know of a time anywhere in my life, maybe when I was younger and just blissfully ignorant, where everything just lined up perfectly. There's always something new. There's always something coming up, and you can break when that happens, or you can learn to say good. In fact, can you thank God? Whatever it is you might be going through right now, can you say to God, thank you that I'm going through this now? Thank you that I have to endure this and have to rely on you more and trust you and get to put into practice all these things. They sound great in Sunday school. They sound great in a sermon on a video, but when it's really going down, can you say good? How about Hebrews chapter 11, right? The hallway of faith, the chapter about faith, and all these examples of faith. Most of us don't remember much after the first 31 verses. He starts in 32 and he says, what more shall I say? For time would fail me to tell of Gideon, Barak, Samson, Jephthah, David, Samuel, and the prophets. And listen to all this good stuff. Who through faith conquered kingdoms? Good. Enforced justice. Obtained promises. Stopped the mouths of lions. All good things. Quenched the power of fire. Escaped the edge of the sword. Were made strong out of weakness. Became mighty in war. Put foreign armies to fight. Women received back their dead by resurrection. Now, this is where you pause. Some were tortured, refusing to accept release so that they might rise again to a better life. See, good, because it's an opportunity. Read that again. Listen again. Some were tortured, refusing to accept release. It reminds me of Paul in Acts chapter 16, when he had been jailed wrongly, beaten wrongly as a Roman, jailed, and they found out he was a Roman. At the end of that chapter, they want to sort of sneak him out the back door. And if I was in jail, in prison, and they opened up the doors and said, you're free to go, you won't have to hear another word from me because I'll be on my way out. Paul stayed and wanted to set the tone and set the precedent and set it right. You did this publicly and openly. You're going to release me publicly and openly. So it says, talks about that opportunity here in verse 35. In verse 36, others suffered mocking and flogging and even chains and imprisonment. They were stoned and they were sawn in two. They were killed with the sword. They went about in skins of sheep and goats, destitute, afflicted, mistreated, of whom the world was not worthy, wandering about in deserts and mountains and in dens and in caves of the earth. All of those opportunities to say, it's good. It's always good because I have God, because this is going to accomplish something. And you don't always know what that is. That's the beauty of faith. You can't see. We walk by faith, not by sight. You can't see what God might be accomplishing, just like Job. But can you say, good? There's an opportunity. And I know I keep repeating that over and over, but so many of us struggle with that. And we are so pampered in our society. And I'm not talking about, how bad it is. And I don't want to cast a negative view of what it means to live in an affluent society like America for most of us anyway. But we are so pampered and we have it so easy. And what we're realizing is we're growing less and less popular. People are losing the concept of faith, losing the concept of God. We are less and less accepted for following and believing in God. That's never good that sin runs rampant, but it's an opportunity. In fact, when the church was first persecuted, the very first time, not by the Romans, by the Jews, Acts chapter 8, the church was scattered, and what happened? It exploded. In other countries right now, it's terrible. You think it's getting so bad in our society, and you have a hard time saying, good, look at the opportunity here. Look what might come out of this. We can use this. Yet in other countries, it's against the law to be a Christian. It's against the law to obey the gospel. Baptism is against the law. And yet the church and Christianity is spreading like fire. I hope in your life, in your everyday struggles, you can learn to say good. And you can respond to people honestly. When they ask you, how are things? How are you? You can literally say, I'm good. And that's evidence of your faith in God. I want to thank you for being with us today. If you have not already and you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe. If this video helped you, like it. It helps get the word out. And over here is a video that YouTube recommends and our last release. For those listening on podcast, thank you so much again for being with us. And please subscribe, rate, and review. If any of this helped you or you think it'll benefit somebody else, please share it with them.